the cosmic reasons of moonlight tea leaf plucking at Makai Bari Tea Estate, Kursang. The region is known for Darjeeling tea, which was given the first GI tag in India in 2004. The Ministry of Tourism has also planned visit of the delegates to UNESCO World Heritage Site, which was declared on 5th December 1999. Darjeeling Himalayan Railways, a short toy train ride from Ghum, India's highest railway station, will be given, which will pass through Batashia Loop and finally going to Darjeeling station. The delegates will visit the heritage building of Raj Bhavan at Darjeeling, which will be followed by a visit to Chaurasta, where cultural programs have also been organized for the delegates, which will include local performances, tribal dance, traditional Tappa dance, Tamang folk dance, Chow dance, India Army's pipe band, along with other folk performances. The Ministry of Tourism has made all efforts to introduce delegates to local art and craft of this region. MSME and tourism departments of West Bengal have organized art and craft stalls and will also have do-it-yourself activities at Siliguri and Darjeeling both. This will provide an immersive experience to our delegates about local arts and crafts of the region. Himalayan Mountaineering Institute at Darjeeling is also exhibiting their equipment and facilities at the Mall Road. A morning yoga session is also planned at Mayfair Tea Resort, Siliguri, in lush green settings for delegates in coordination with Ministry of Ayush. As you are all aware, United Nations, at the behest of Government of India, has declared 2023 as the International Year of Millets. In line with this, the millet-based cuisine and local cuisines have been selected in the menu for the delegates. The Ministry of Tourism is promoting local products of West Bengal by handing souvenirs to delegates from one district, one product list of items like wooden owl set from Burdwan district, Dokra GI hookfish from Bankura district, Bangla Shri silk pocket square from Malda district, and Chitpur Atar from Kalimpong district. In recent years, adventure tourism in India is gaining immense popularity among both domestic and international tourists, and therefore Ministry of Tourism is hosting two side events on adventure tourism on this occasion. In the first side event, we will have our Adventure Tour Operators Association, the International Adventure Tour Operator Association Vice President, who will be joining us, along with our local industry and representatives from the delegates who are coming to attend this meeting. This will focus on the global perspectives on adventure tourism, how other countries are meeting the challenges, and most importantly, how adventure tourism can lead to achieving sustainable development goals. The second event is organized on the next day, again around tourism, adventure tourism. Will have our national policies, our national programs being discussed and deliberated along with the industry and the states. We again have focus on our northeastern states. So the northeastern states will present the adventure tourism opportunities that exist in those states and what are they doing to further promote and develop those adventure tourism opportunities. Another key element of India G20 presidency is to have public involvement and make it truly a people's G20. An exhibition will be opened for the general public from 3rd to 5th April to increase awareness about India's G20 presidency and also promotion of sustainable practices under adventure tourism at the Mall Road, Darjeeling. On this occasion, a Himalayan Drive car rally will also be flagged off on 2nd April 2023 from Siliguri. During the first meeting of Tourism Working Group at Run of Kutch, Gujarat, from 7th to 9th February, the 5 priority areas of India's presidency for tourism sector, which include green tourism, digitalization, skills, tourism MSMEs, and destination management were endorsed by all members. And we will take that discussion further in the second meeting of Tourism Working Group. We have circulated our draft outcome document on which all member countries are working. UNWTO is our knowledge partner for assisting us in preparing these two deliverables, which is a Goa roadmap and action plan for tourism as a vehicle for achieving SDGs, and a ministerial communique which will be released at the end of the ministerial meeting. So this is a brief of the activities that we are going to undertake during 1st April to 3rd April at the second Tourism Working Group meeting at Siliguri and Darjeeling. Thank you.
I would request the Secretary to address the gathering, please.
Thank you. Friends, it was some alarm or something. Thank you, friends. Thank you for responding to our invitation and being here in such large numbers. It is indeed a matter of pride and privilege for us that we have got this opportunity to host the second Tourism Working Group meeting at Siliguri and Darjeeling, starting tomorrow till the 3rd of April for 3 days. My colleague Rakesh has given you all the details of the flow of events as they will happen. But let me give you the background of the selection. As you know, earlier G20 presidencies, wherever they have taken place, they have been restricted to a few centers. But consciously, the government of India decided that if we have to showcase different parts of India, we have to take the meetings to different parts of the country. And that's why more than 55 locations, almost 59 locations have been selected for the 200 meetings, so that delegates from all over the world get a flavor of the local heritage, the local culture, the local tourist products that are available in all these centers. Similarly, for the Tourism Working Group, we are scheduled to have 4 meetings. So we selected 1 in each region of the country. The first meeting happened in the western part of the country in the Run of Kutch from 7th to 9th February, and that was a successful meeting. All our priorities were endorsed, and we saw very active participation by the G20 the invited countries, the member countries, and the international organizations. The second meeting that we have selected is in the eastern part of the country, and we have selected Siliguri and Darjeeling as the location for the second Tourism Working Group meeting in the eastern part of the country. And that is why we are trying to showcase and highlight the typical features of the world, of this region. The delegates will have an exposure to tea estates and tea plucking and the characteristics of the tea industry that grows here. They will be exposed to adventure tourism, the prospects that they are seeing here. They will also be shown heritage buildings and get to see local culture and arts and crafts at the mall, Darjeeling. They'll visit the Raj Bhavan. So we are trying to give them a glimpse of the region so that they carry this message home as ambassadors of this region and as ambassadors of the country, that of the prospects and the potential of this region. On the 2nd, of course, will be the crucial day of the 2nd of April, when the whole day we will discuss going ahead from the Run of Kutch discussions on the 5 priorities in a deeper and more extensive way about the 5 priorities which are mainly aimed at reaching the sustainable goals and for recovery of the tourism sector in the post-pandemic situation across the world. So how do we shape and discuss these priorities? So that the next 2 meetings that happen, one in the north of India at a venue which we will announce after the Darjeeling meeting is over, and that will happen in May. And the last working group meeting will happen in western or southern India in Goa, where we'll have the working group meeting followed by the ministerial. And as indicated by my colleague, there will be a final ministerial communique, which will be the outcome of the deliberations at the 3 working group meetings, including the one at Siliguri, Darjeeling. And that will be the final communique, which will have the endorsement of all the tourism ministers from all the G20 countries who will attend the meeting at Goa in June. Now, along with this, to take advantage of the momentum generated by the G20 presidency, we are organizing a large number of events in the country. to propel and push the process of revival of tourism. In the month of May, from 17th to 19th May, we will be holding a major global tourism investors summit at New Delhi, Pragati Maidan. The idea being to get more foreign as well as domestic investment from the private sector and other sources into the tourism and hospitality sector. We will have a conference on MICE, International Conference on MICE, in the month of July in Hyderabad, on meetings, incentives, conventions and exhibitions, conferences and exhibitions, MICE, because the idea is that with the new infrastructure that is growing in the country, with better connectivity, better roads, better highways, better railway facilities, better airports, and new convention centers that are coming up at several locations, we have the potential to become a major destination for holding these MICE events, such as the G20 meetings, which are happening in various parts of the country. So that conference will be held in July. We'll also have a major travel mart organized by PATA, which is the Asia Pacific Travel Association, and that will be in October. And in the month of April, we will have a major B2B meeting organized by FICCI at Jaipur, where around the last week of April, where we will have inbound tour operators discussing with Indian tour operators. So there are, apart from the G20 meetings, working group meetings, the second of which is happening here, there are a large number of events which we are planning in this year to add to the momentum created and generated by the G20 presidency to take the development of both domestic and international tourism further in the country. So thank you. These are the words that my colleagues and I, the thoughts that we have shared with you, and we are open to any questions that you may have. Thank you.
If there are any questions, please could you say your name and which media house you belong to? It'll just be a short one, please. Thank you.
If I may just add one more point. One typical characteristic of the meeting here that is happening is that we have got the confirmation of a large number of ambassadors of countries who are coming. And that will also help because, they will take this message back. And I'll just read out the list. The ambassadors of almost 8 countries, the heads of missions based in New Delhi are also attending, which is a unique characteristic. They don't usually come because it is delegations which come from the tourism ministry or wherever. So the High Commissioner of Singapore, the Ambassador of Mexico, the Ambassador of Japan, the High Commissioner of Bangladesh, Ambassador of Indonesia, High Commissioner of Australia, the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of Oman, and the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of Republic of Korea. So high-level diplomatic representatives from some countries, and usually they don't go, but we made special efforts to invite them, and they've been kind enough to accept our invitation. So that also, gives a unique characteristic to the meeting here.
Good evening, everybody, on the dais and off the dais. I'm Manas Banerjee, belonging to the Statesman. I have 2 questions. Before going to ask a question, just I wish to inform something just I have gathered recently. The Queen of Hills has 2 assets, rather, attractions for the tourists. One toy train in Darjeeling, another one Sandakphu. It's a major attraction for inbound tourists. When inbound tourists are coming, what is the second one? Sandakphu. Just I wish to inform one thing. From Manebhanjan to Sandakphu, this is a very good route. Good attraction for the tourists. Recently, Bangladesh people are coming, and this route is Indo-Nepal border, right? From Nepal part, Nepal government has developed a network for the development of tourism based on Ilam, that is eastern part of Nepal. And from Ilam to Sandakphu, they have discovered so many routes, even from Tumling to Sandakphu, two projects are there. Okay, one is 13 days trekking from Tumling to Sandakphu for international tourists. My question is different. On the issue of accommodation, we do not have good accommodation in Indian part. But in Nepal part, there are good accommodations and major part they cover, right? The question is, the Gorkhaland Territorial Administration has a role, and though there are some properties for government sector and the private sector, but that properties are not suitable for the international tourists. My question is, what will be the role of Indian Tourism Department in association with the West Bengal government? The first one. The second one is on the issue of...
This press conference is on the G20 working group. So G20 working group meeting, we will answer questions on that, because otherwise if we start taking questions on tourism policy and government measures and this, then we'll have to take another press conference.
All right.
So let us stick our questions to the G20 working group meeting.
Okay, actually, can you showcase the Sandakphu for G20 group in a meeting, sir?
I mean, sure. We are doing two side events on adventure tourism. There are representatives from the adventure tour operators of India and abroad who are going to attend, and adventure this thing from other parts. So we can definitely showcase in those meetings. And interested people should meet the representatives of the Adventure Tour Operators Association of India, who will be coming for these two side events.
Okay, sir. Another one is when toy train is main attraction, Land Rover is also very much attractive for the tourists. So, but unfortunately, just I'm giving the information to you. Hopefully, it will be helpful for the development. So, there is not a single Land Rover, original Land Rover at present, right? There are 65 Land Rovers now. Nearly 30 Land Rovers are running, but only there is structure. But the engine they had to fit the engine of Bolero in the Land Rover. International tourists are very much interested to ride Land Rover from Manibhanjan to Sandakphu, but there is a question of more than 15 years old vehicles that should be off the road, right? I do not
how is this relevant to the G20 second working group meeting? See, we have to take the delegates. The numbers are more than 100. We cannot take them in Land Rovers. We have to take them in tempo travelers or larger vehicles. Now, this is a local issue or a local policy which is not relevant to this meeting. Definitely, if there is a concern, we will, you give me in writing what is the issue, I'll hand it over to the state government to have a look at it. But I would say that this question, does not have any relevance for the G20 second working group meeting being held at Siliguri and Darjeeling.
I'm so sorry, but this information is very good for the development, to being developed.
I will use that information. Please hand it over to me.
Sure.
Sure. Hello. Sir, this is Irfan from Dainik Jagran newspaper. So I have one question that whether the meeting which is going to be held here, that will be open for the media or not?
There will be, the actual meeting will not be open for the media, but there will be a media center where PIB and other representatives will be giving you briefings about the proceedings as they are going on. So there will be a media center there.
Okay, another question is that though this region of the country is basically known for triple T, tea, tourism and timber, and it is quite good that you people are going to promote it as adventure tourism. So what are the scopes in adventures you can see here?
There were lots of trekking was an example that a friend gave, that there are so many routes. Mountain climbing, there is the Himalayan Mountaineering Institute, and there are several peaks which are nearby. Trekking, mountain climbing, off-road activities like this car rally which will promote off-road. he mentioned a particular kind of vehicle which is popular. So those kind of vehicles are very important for adventure trips or off-road, tours. Then if there are, water sources, then you can have river rafting also. From the hills, you can have paragliding and other air-related sports. So the scope is endless. But predominantly, of course, since the area is dominated by the Himalayan ranges, it will be mainly, the focus will be on trekking and mountaineering.
फ्रॉम स्टेट कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं है। तो इंडिया ये जो शोकेस कर रहा है, एटलीस्ट हम ही लोगों को पता नहीं है कैसा शोकेसिंग होगा, कौन करेगा, हम लोग कवर कर पाएंगे कि नहीं।
देखिए, हिल्स में लॉजिस्टिक्स की भी एक इशू है। चूंकि डेलीगेट्स की संख्या बहुत ज्यादा है, वहां जाएंगे गाड़ी, कितने लोगों को हम लोग ले सकते हैं, कैपेसिटी कितनी है, ये सब सोच के आपको इंफॉर्मेशन दे दी जाएगी।
ओके।
मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि ग्लोबल टूरिज्म इन्वेस्टर्स समिट जो है उसकी वेबसाइट एक तैयार हो गई है, तो उस वेबसाइट पे आप जाएं। वहां हर राज्य में फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट के कितने इन्वेस्टेबल प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं और उन किस प्रकार के प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, उसमें कितना अभिप्रेत है और कितना अनुमान है कि फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट आएगा, इस सब के डिटेल्स हैं। अभी हाल ही में हमने एक दिल्ली में चिंतन शिविर किया था, तो वहां दिखाया गया था कि करीब करीब 300 से ज्यादा प्रोजेक्ट्स ऑलरेडी वेबसाइट पे आ गए हैं, जबकि ये कार्यक्रम 2 महीने बाद है और काफी बड़ी तादाद में अपेक्षित है कि उसमें फॉरेन इन्वेस्टमेंट या डोमेस्टिक इन्वेस्टमेंट आएगा। परंतु हमने राज्यों को यही सलाह दी, अभी एक चिंतन शिविर दिल्ली में हुआ था सिलीगुड़ी दार्जिलिंग आने के पहले, कि प्रोजेक्ट्स की जो तैयारी है उसको कंसेप्चुअलाइजेशन स्टेज के बाद है कि उसकी डिटेल प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट तैयार कीजिए। डिटेल प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट तैयार करने के बाद आपको रिक्वेस्ट फॉर प्रपोजल करना पड़ता है, RFP जिसे कहते हैं, ताकि ये कि बिडर उस पर आ पाए। और जब एक RFP एकदम सॉलिड रूप से तैयार होगा तभी आप प्रोजेक्ट तुरंत तैयार कर सकेंगे। तो बहुत से प्रोजेक्ट अभी सिर्फ 5% प्रोजेक्ट्स उस RFP स्टेज पे पहुंचे हैं। तो हमने सभी राज्यों को यही सलाह दी कि आप जरा और इस पे होमवर्क करिए, डिटेल प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट्स तैयार कीजिए, RFP स्टेज पे लाइए, ताकि इन्वेस्टर्स जब आएंगे तो उन्हें वो कॉन्फिडेंस मिलेगा कि इस राज्य ने सब कुछ, सारे क्लियरेंसेस कर ली है और उनके प्रोजेक्ट टेक ऑफ स्टेज पे है। तो मुझे आशा है कि अगले 2 महीने में ये तैयारी अच्छे रूप से सब राज्य कर सकेंगे। हमने उनको तांत्रिक मदद के लिए इन्वेस्ट इंडिया के रिसोर्सेज भी उपलब्ध कराने का आश्वासन दिया है। और आपको मैं अनुरोध करूंगा कि ग्लोबल टूरिज्म इन्वेस्टमेंट समिट के वेबसाइट पे जाएं, तो आपको सारी जानकारी मिल जाएगी।